What's up, Open Table? Here we are again, and things are going to be a little different tonight. We have Daniel Patrick Owenby. You can just call him Patrick. He's going to
Guys, what's up?
be co-hosting with me, and we're I guess, the big topic tonight is probably going to be pedophilia, as weird as that may seem. But I'm going to let Patrick take over and kind of introduce himself to everybody, and you can get to know him.
Hey guys, Patrick Owenby. You know me in the group Open Table as Daniel Patrick Owenby. Um, I'm not really sure how to introduce myself other than to say I'm on the political right, somewhere between a libertarian and a conservative. I voted for Donald Trump in 2016, and I'm tending to regret that a little bit. Um, and excited about seeing what we can talk about pedophilia tonight. I've got a lot of Jeffrey Epstein things and sort of a lot of other side topics we can get into.
And I don't even get an introduction. I'm just chopped liver now.
Yeah, you're old news.
I guess so. Well, it's nice to have somebody to the right. We got me to the left. We got Hal in the middle, and now we have.
Am I really in the middle?
I
think I'm hard.
Hal, you're all over the place.
I'm even harder towards anarchy than I've ever been. So, yeah, I'm everywhere.
You're in every corner of the political spectrum,
except that far upper corner
top right.
The right. Yeah, the top right.
Authoritarian right.
Stay
yeah,
out
I'm not
of
a fan
the
of Donald Trump.
authoritarian right, listeners, please.
If there's two people in history I don't like, it's Donald Trump and Hitler.
Wow.
And they're essentially the same person. So, anyway, on to the topic of pedophilia, sex trafficking, and everything in between. It seems to be like a big topic. I think tonight is a good chance for us to individually go through what we've, I guess, researched. I've been doing this a long time, close to a decade, and trying to dispel the bullshit that's going on. Not to say that Tom Hanks and Oprah and fucking
Chrissy Teigen,
Ellen DeGeneres. Well, Chrissy Teigen is obviously a pedophile. She made it pretty clear.
I mean, all those tweets.
She was talking about talking in from another perspective. But we're just gonna try and we're gonna, I guess, discuss all of it and come to a medium point or a midpoint, I guess.
It's a hot topic. People are getting super excited about it. Not excited, but just go nuts about it.
Welcome to August 2020, where pedophilia is a trend.
That's on the docket now. That's what we're dealing with. Pedophilia pandemic.
Now, every day on my Facebook wall, I see 30 people posting about pedophiles and pedophile memes, and I'm gonna punch a pedophile. And
I'm seeing profile pictures changing now. What do we think's going on here? Are the Hollywood elite getting initiated? Is it like with police when they're trying to join a gang? The gang's like, all right, do some drugs in front of us. I'm gonna
say that they're probably it's hard to deny that having money affords you the opportunity to get away with some shit that regular people can't necessarily get away with so easily.
So this is a class problem, is what you're saying. We have the top 1% of pedophiles engaging in all the pedophilia.
No, what I'm saying is a lot of the people that have those I'm gonna punch a pedophile posts should probably punch their dads and their uncles and their pastors and their teachers. They should probably go for them first.
So you're saying this is like super widespread, like a
Yeah,
massive.
I think it's far more insidious than just like, Tom Hanks.
Do you think this has always been the case and it's just coming to light now because it's easier for people to talk about it? Or do you think this is a new problem that's coming about from just like access?
Like I said, man, I've been on this for about a decade now. And, I go back to cases like Peter Scully originally out of Australia. And then I think he was arrested in Thailand. He released films. One, I guess, if anybody even knows about him, they're going to know about the Daisy's Destruction video where man, pretty fucking rough to talk about, but he was molesting children on camera. These were only like 15-minute videos that he was selling, but it was to the point of dismembering children on film.
Oh, Jesus.
He made two girls that were sisters dig their own graves, knowing they were going to die.
There's videos of all this stuff?
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest trying to find them.
Those are some real snuff
no,
films, like real snuff films.
Yeah, the like legit snuff films. That goes along with all that weird kind of like mythos / fact that's based around the dark web or the deep web. This was a real case. A lot of his pings, which are weird, but a lot of his pings were coming from the U.S. and he was selling these clips for upwards of $20,000. I mean, that's literally like 10 to 15 minutes of video that were going for that much. Which is why I have to question the whole Wayfair thing, because if you're selling entire children or people, regardless of age, for anywhere between like $10,000 and $20,000, that doesn't make sense when you really look at it. And I think really a lot of this is the woke culture. A lot of people thinking that they know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're, just coming to terms with what's actually happening. And it's sort of the like fantastical side of things. It should be enough that we definitely do know that sex trafficking is a thing. It's a very real thing, and it's a very global, widespread thing. I don't think that you should have to add that, lizard people are eating your children and drinking their blood and adrenochrome and it's just such stupid shit that's obviously fucking nonsense. And for the most part, originated on fucking 4chan, which the average internet user probably has no idea what the fuck that even is.
Wait, what do you mean? Early, I think the whole network?
The QAnon awakening.
Well, yeah, the whole conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is completely crazy. QAnon is insane, and I'm saying this from somebody who's on the right, where a lot of people on the right tend to kind of buy into the QAnon. It's not real. It's crazy.
It started off in 4chan in the B thread.
Yeah.
Or B board.
Which is a board that is the craziest of the crazy people that even get on 4chan.
Absolutely. That's the most depraved place on the internet that's
shit. I didn't realize Jason Griffith was in here.
Yeah, sorry. We didn't take the time to introduce. Go ahead and
welcome Jason Griffith too. Most of you probably know him from the group. I'm sorry, Jason.
He just
got caught up in that conversation.
No, it's fine. I just joined. I was running that appointment and, trying to get the economy back going. And
Right. Despite COVID.
Yeah, right. So I'm kind of going to use my intuition and say that you guys are talking about the wild conspiracy theories surrounding the fraught topic of child trafficking and pedophilia rings, right?
Yeah, we were speaking specifically on Ray Romano.
Oh, okay.
Not really, but
okay. Well, okay. Go ahead and continue, and I'll see where I can jump.
Yeah,
in.
go ahead with that, Early, because I know that you.
So yeah, I used to go on 4chan on B like all the time back when it was like the early days, when I was in high school and a little bit afterwards, when I was in the Marines and everything else. And there was a lot of really messed up stuff on there, but I mean, there's a lot of pranking as well, like the whole changing Mountain Dew names and sending Taylor Swift to go play at a deaf school. Yeah, Horseman School of the Deaf.
Well, that's interesting, Early, because I kind of think Twitter was like that too in the early days of Twitter. People just went on there to shit post and say what they wanted to say, and that's why people are going back now. And like James Gunn, for example, that's why he got canceled, because he made a bunch of pedophile jokes back in 2009, 2010,
right?
And because he was just talking shit, and
right,
he got canceled. So
yep.
I think it's very similar from that perspective.
If I can comment just for a second on, I'm sure that most of us, at least in this group here, the 4 of us, 5 of us, if you count the man behind the Iron Curtain, we all grew up on that weird cusp of internet, in between, like back when dial-up was still a thing, and you actually had to want to go through these threads and these message boards, and a lot of people just didn't do that. Most people that I know, if they go back to message boards and all that, most of those roads lead back to E-Bomb's world.
You're the man now, dog.
Yeah, what was the other one? Underground, Newgrounds. Those were things that not everyone frequented, because, I mean, why would you? Unless you were just a bored, lonely fucking teenager, or a bored, lonely adult, whatever. But we've seen how a lot of these things, I think that's part of why I have to dismiss a lot of this shit, is because I've seen it for so long that...
Yeah, I mean, what people would do, they're everybody on 4chan was lying, especially B, and people would make these elaborate green text stories, which, who knows, maybe some of them were real, maybe some of them weren't. I mean, there were memes of dead people being posted, which there's no way to confirm one way or another. But what B fostered and created was they take bits and pieces of stuff from real life. What were the letters from Pizzagate that got people all up in arms?
Oh yeah,
the emails.
Oh yeah, dude, fuck.
Names of the emails, but they're like, oh yeah, they're talking about pizza, cheese pizza
and hot dogs, and
that's internet code for child porn and everything else. And so everybody got so worked up once 8chan/Infinity Chan got going. The people from B that were the most paranoid conspiracy people took that to Infinity Chan. 8chan became more well known as, and just created this whole conspiracy hive.
Yeah, and to 8chan and Infinity Chan, I mean, if you're having to break away from B on 4chan because they're too soft and not radical enough, there's something wrong there.
I think it's weird though that like, I guess most of us in this chat right now would be considered nerds to some degree. Myself,
I'm wearing a Star Trek shirt right now.
Right. I'm not wearing a shirt.
Who you calling a nerd?
Which is, take that wedgie, you fucking nerd. No. But we all we definitely have a bit of common ground when it comes to being somewhat isolated as teenagers and shit. So we got to experience all of that weird back and forth on these message boards that's now becoming like part of the front pages of the internet, which is very strange to me. But we essentially experienced quarantine for an extended period of our lives to the point that we've already heard all of this shit and it's fucking laughable. I'm not denying that like Tom Hanks and other celebrities are pedophiles. But you
require firm evidence to.
It definitely requires a little more than like a Facebook post or a fucking tweet from someone that's just completely unknown. I think, Isaac Cappy, people ignored, but now they're fucking going on and sharing shit from him that's being shared from people that are completely unknown and new to it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
How often do we turn on Facebook or I should say log into Facebook?
I don't know anyone that logs out of Facebook.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's very pervasive to many people's lives, including my own. But how many times do we, turn on our phone and get into Facebook and scroll and, I can't think of a celebrity's name, but a celebrity has died, and then we quickly go to Google, do a quick image or Google search, and find out that it's not true. But people spread it like wildfire. They're so enamored. Well, yeah. Well, and I can
tell everybody at least once a year that Michael Jordan died, just to see their reaction.
I really feel that we're so enamored with being the first person to get the news out.
Break the news out.
Yeah. So when I found out about Kobe Bryant, the first thing I did was a Google search, and I saw, AP reports, not, the Babylonian or whatever it's called. And
I immediately thought it was another bullshit.
Me too.
Scenario. I think that's a problem that
Babylon B, Hard Times, Onion. You're just thinking when you hear something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
but how do we overcome?
The Babylon B and the Onion are too often close to the actual headlines. So nobody can know if it's true.
Well, yeah.
Dude, that's the appeal of them. That's why I think they're so fucking successful and hilarious. Like, I see people unironically sharing those articles.
Yeah, and that's my question is, how do we as communities and overall in society how do we overcome that and kind of just destroy the notion of, well, it's on the internet, so it must be true.
I think
that's a great question.
Another problem though is, it's on the internet, so it must be fake.
Yeah.
I've heard the worst thing that I've ever heard from people especially when like presenting facts to them, they go, well, I guess my internet's different than your internet.
One of the most disturbing trends. One of the most disturbing trends I've seen recently is people posting Snopes, and then other people being like, that's some liberal organization anyways. Like,
that gets
because they go, oh man, you just fucking reference Snopes, bro.
The thing is they post, or they have a citation section for their sources for verification, and it's almost like the mentality that say you learned something in college. Let's say that you learned something in a science class about heritability through genetics, okay, and then you pass that information along, and you can cite, well, hey, I took this class, I did some research on it, did some papers, cited sources, and they're like, oh no, that's college is just a bunch of liberal, libtards indoctrinating the youth of America. Is it a form of jealousy, or that is totally undeserved? Because if you're a hardworking person and you make your money, you take care of your family, you do all the necessary things that are pertinent to sustaining a good, fulfilling life, you should not at any level feel threatened by somebody who advanced their education.
Right. Made themselves more. And it's not even true that it's necessarily like a liberal indoctrination place, because there's plenty of degree like engineers, business majors, economists, a bunch of those types of degrees. Like all the professors are extremely conservative, and they're going to be passing on their conservative views to their students. Liberal arts like history, political science, a bunch of those degrees, a lot of the professors are more liberal, so that's going to come off in their teaching. But like the fact that it's so looked down upon that people are getting education is crazy to me.
I don't. Guys, I don't totally disagree with you. What you're saying, life is not a zero-sum game. Just because somebody does better doesn't mean you're doing worse. Just because everybody can win at life by doing what's best for them. Some people aren't meant to go to college. Some people are meant to be mechanics, and some people are meant to be like me. I'm in marketing. I don't have a college degree. So you can make a good living doing things other than going to college.
And hey, before we go forward, Patrick, I know you're at the studio. What setup are you using right now? Like, how close? Because you're a little bit lower than the rest of us.
I'm just sitting about 3 feet from a mic. Should I sit closer?
Yeah, maybe bring that thing. I hate to make you eat the mic. Bring it to about like, that's perfect.
Perfect.
So,
all right, continue.
I love that last comment, because one thing that some educated people, the folly of their thinking is that having an education doesn't trump experience, and having experience doesn't trump education. You should be a student of life. And what that means is taking each encounter that you have and accepting everything that surrounds what you experienced, and logging that into your biological database for future encounters. So I don't want to get too wordy here, but the fact that somebody like you can work in marketing without a formal education is proof that education is not the end game for a successful and fulfilling life. Let's take Elon Musk and Bill Gates, for example. Elon Musk has a BS and a bachelor's in business and a bachelor's in science. Okay. He doesn't have a master's. He doesn't have a PhD. He's sending fucking Corvettes or whatever the hell he put up into space to Mars. He sent 2 astronauts to the International Space Station. This man is a functional genius. Now let's talk about Bill Gates. This man,
Elon Musk, also wants to make real life anime cat girls. So.
Oh my god!
So,
geniuses tend to be tend to be eccentric, and I always use this example to address that. Because we know Einstein's accomplishments, he had a physically romantic relationship with his first cousin. So genius carries.
I mean, that was a lot more accepted back then.
It was more accepted, but still it was at least in the States, the United
there are
States.
some states that it's still legal to marry your cousin. I'm pretty sure Alabama.
Yes, that's correct.
Kentucky, maybe.
Probably some archaic laws that they have no need to be addressed because they're functionally not relevant.
Correct.
Are you guys familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Yes, absolutely.
I am not.
So yeah, so that's basically it's a type of cognitive bias where people think they know a lot more about a subject than they actually do if they just know a little bit about it. And people who are like experts in this field like know so much that they know all the things that they don't know as well. And so they underestimate themselves. So you have this massive population of the public that's like, oh, you know what? I took like a college class, or oh, like I read some like articles on the internet about this subject, so I know a lot about this subject. When in reality, the people that do know aren't even that confident. But it's frustrating for them to look out all across the internet and be like, oh my god, like these people are just shitting on everything I say. We have these people in sunglasses sitting in a pickup truck going on these rants. And it's getting millions of shares. Meanwhile, these scientists have devoted their life to research and study of this particular topic, just being like, well, I don't know. I got to look at every option.
Yeah, and I would even say all of us in this conversation right now are, subject to falling victim to the Dunning-Kruger effect, because the people the people who guard themselves the most against confirmation bias are the ones in the field doing the research and making the discoveries. If I take a class like, my macroeconomics class at UT, just to harken back to a point that was made earlier, a very conservative professor, even the TA was very conservative. But me taking that class and learning what had already been discovered in the field of macroeconomics did not at any level put upon my shoulders a title of expert. I know a few more things, but I'm not out in the field working. And this is where the experience part comes in so importantly, I would say, that when you get that base knowledge in macroeconomics, you then go out into the field to research, study, put into practice things you learned and see how they actually work in real life. And that's where the true knowledge factor comes in. Okay. So experience and education are not mutually exclusive. They go hand in hand.
Well, experience
Absolutely.
is education, just done differently.
Correct.
It's not formal education; it's hands-on experience.
Well, it's trial and error.
Yeah,
and that's
practical application.
I think
that's the basic tenet of the scientific method.
I think I can't speak for other countries. I think we have this weird idea here in the U.S. that, if you graduate high school or you're in college or, whatever, that you're just like above everyone else. I was a high school dropout.
You're one of the most intelligent people I know, Hal.
Right. Well, I mean, thank you. I don't dig myself as like some like fucking know-all or whatever, but I do realize that it's entirely possible to educate yourself. And I think that's very important. I think that's something that a lot of people don't, even people that are in my position that have done that, don't push. They say, yeah, go to school, go do this. I was bored in school. I was bored in school my entire life. And I think a lot of that comes from, I was, my first 3 years, I guess, of school, 3 or 4 years of school. I attended Petsworth in, I guess it's technically in Gloucester County, Virginia, Gloucester, for those that are natives. But it was hell. I think the school was built like 3 years before I went there. We had a library that also had a theater, and I'm not talking like some big epic theater. I'm saying like there was a round amphitheater type, like on a small scale area where we could watch documentaries. There was a school news team that would do local news in the mornings. They were readying you for the real world, and through no fault of my own, I ended up back here in good old Campbell County, Tennessee. Woo! And I was made fun of for being ahead of kids. So that in turn ended up me feeling left out, like fucking isolated, whatever. And eventually, led me into the punk rock, skateboarding, I guess, alternative scene of life. Yeah, I mean, and it's weird because I was like, Jason Griffith and I both grew up around the same people, as far at least through like middle school and high school. And so I would say that he understands me a little more on that front, and the people that I hung out with. We both have a mutual friend, or several mutual friends that were, early punk rock kids. And we all ended up dropping out of school. We ended up, I dropped out of school with like 2 credits to go. I was just over it. It was boring to me. I was sick of it.
Well, and if I may interject for a second,
sure.
There's a problem in rural school systems all across the country with tenured teachers that give up and don't much care for the students that they're really charged with guiding and trying to mold them into functional adults.
Because they've been abandoned by the respective states. I mean, if you look at other countries, they don't really have that problem as much. Like, teaching is a coveted and very well respected position. Meanwhile, in the States, you have high school teachers where they are teaching their students, and their students get out of high school, they graduate high school and go work at the local gas station. They're making the same amount of money as them. Like, it's...
Well, and I think that goes back to the distrust of academic institutions from rural America, that every bit of the framing in a parent's mind that lives out in the countryside is completely orthogonal to what the teachers are trying to achieve. And that's very problematic. And I can see why that can lead to jaded instructors. And sure. But when you have a position as important as that, I would say this about police officers as well. You don't get to be jaded. You have to bring your A game and 100% every day, no matter what happens.
So how would you say we solve that?
I think
the same solution for police: increase funding in specific. No, hold on. In
You're
specific ways,
dude.
In specific ways, no more militarization, more training.
Man, you can't compare police to teachers.
Well,
I'm calling you on that one.
Okay. So let me unpack
in a
this
totally
for a
respectful way, but
yeah, absolutely.
Fuck the police.
Let me unpack this for a second.
No offense.
Teachers,
no offense, but fuck your uncle that's a cop or whatever.
Well, listen, there's an inverse here. So teachers have incredible training through their scholastic achievements, hopefully, and their ability to absorb knowledge and absorb techniques for passing and disseminating that knowledge. Cops, on the other hand, do not receive the greatest training, but have an abundance of resources for crowd control, controlling violence. But without the proper training, those tools, the things provided to them, are functionally useless because they don't know what to do with them. Whereas
I may be a bleeding heart here, but okay, you brought up cops not having training, but having essentially tools that they are unequipped to use.
Yes.
So you look at teachers.
Go through 6 years of school, get your master's, and then you can teach.
I want
the
to.
bachelor's in Tennessee, I think.
Yeah, you can.
I want to bring up. I want to bring up one that I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that Jason Griffith and I had together at one point. I'm not gonna call him by name. I'm gonna say Mr. P. Mr. P. Like
can you easy
penis?
Because we've moved very far away
Not
from child sex trafficking, by the way.
Right, but you know what I'm saying.
PP.
Well,
yeah, we'll say PP and not tetanus.
Give me the subject.
He was a English teacher, I guess you would say.
P.
I had him for English literature. He used to end the year on Greek mythology, but he had some trouble.
Grade?
I assume it was freshman year of high school.
Where did you guys go to school?
English.
No, I had Miss Green for.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Where'd y'all go to school?
Campbell County.
Oh, okay.
But he ended up eventually, after we were out of school and everything, he ended up in some drug trouble and all.
I know
that.
who you're
People
talking
just
about.
kind of they demonized the guy. They were like, "Oh, fuck him," you know. That was the best teacher that I've ever had.
Really?
Me as, you know, the dirty ass punk rock kid that I used to skip class and, you know, smoking weed, maybe not even come to school, whatever. He still seen me as, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Relevant, I guess. He treated me no different. Even, yeah. I mean, I guess that's the best way that you could cut it. You know, he realized, all right, the kid's grades are higher than anyone else. Like, he obviously is just bored. But he didn't treat me any different than the kids that were coming to class every day, you know, turning all their work in, doing this and that. Like, there were a handful of teachers there, especially in high school, that they kind of overlooked my unattentiveness, I guess, and realized, hey, this is a intelligent individual, but they're bored, but our hands are tied. We can't move this person to, you know, this class or this class without these state mandated requirements. Well,
Standardized testing is to blame for that. The teachers are trying to
teach to a test.
They're trying to fit children into a mold that it's like putting, you know, the children's toy where there are holes in specific shapes, and you have the circle, the X, the square. They're trying to put a square
pieces
peg in a round hole.
Right.
And that's very, very problematic. And I'm going to reference Einstein again because his intellect in philosophy was well off the charts, even more so than his scientific capabilities. If you were to judge a fish by its ability to climb trees, that fish would spend its life believing it's completely stupid.
Absolutely.
So
especially if that fish's parents tell it.
Yeah.
Stupid. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, that's another problem that maybe it would be for another episode. But real quick, we did really get off the tracks here, and I would like to get back to child sex trafficking and the problems that social media present in this regard. For just a second before we move on to Beirut.
I'm fine with our entire episode being about that. There's enough there that it could be probably spread across 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And it's a real issue. I mean, it is. And like I've said before, I would like to dispel some of the bullshit that's surrounding it.
Well, yeah, and what I really feel attached to with your line of thinking is that you have an innate ability to recognize what is around you and when it's bullshit, and it's so obviously bullshit to you that you struggle with the people who can't see it from your perspective. And I honestly, the way you present yourself and how you talk, even if it's not the most articulate, it's very profound. You have a sense of profundity about you, even if you don't communicate it in an esoteric or pedantic way like I do.
Ouch.
Yeah, no.
I roasted myself on that.
I completely agree with it, but I try and speak in ways that people can understand,
which I struggle with.
Me too.
I mean, you and I could sit and have a conversation where no one around us would know what the fuck we're even saying. Like, from just no words would be understood. I try to put things into a little box that I guess people can understand. I think it's more important to get the message across than it is to seem profound.
How?
And when it comes to this whole trafficking thing, there's a lot of bullshit, man.
So what do you think the bullshit is? Let's get back on topic. What's the bullshit that's going down right now?
All right, so we've got this adrenochrome.
Oh God.
Thing that's going around, and it's new. It's new to people. And I understand that, and I understand the I guess the excitement, the intrigue that goes into the whole conspiracy world, I guess you would call it, whatever. But hey, man, adrenochrome, not real. It's at least has not been confirmed.
Well, it's
how can you?
It's manufactured
a little bit. I don't think I know what that is.
It's manufactured. It's not something produced in our bodies.
That was Patrick.
Was that Early or Patrick? Me. Patrick?
Yeah, I don't think I know what the adrenochrome is.
Oh shit!
Man!
Buckle your asshole in, because here we go. So there's this theory that when you molest a child and torture it, of course there's going to be fear involved. So its adrenal gland is going to be, in fight or flight mode, which we all learned about in health class.
Sure.
And there's this weird theory that if you harvest a child's blood while it's, in this adrenaline fueled fucking scared, like it's almost like Monsters Inc. That you get its life essence. And then that, goes into stem cells and all this shit, and it just like, pictures of celebrities doing stem cell treatment and all that, it just gets all mixed up into this one thing.
I mean, what do you even say to that? I was at a party like 2 weeks ago.
It's hard to talk about it because
this girl just sat down to me and just started explaining this whole concept to me, and I was like,
I know you'll have somebody with like craft beers in their hand going, hey, man.
Nah, man.
Well, real quick, just so you know, the adrenochrome is produced, manufactured. It's not something that is produced by the body. It's literally oxidized epinephrine. Okay. That happens in the lab. That doesn't happen in our bodies.
And you also have to understand that adrenochrome is not produced in the pineal gland. It's produced. Your adrenal glands are like right above your kidney.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I was an army medic.
Adrenochrome is a psychedelic. It's a psychedelic. It's on par with LSD. So,
if you can get me some adrenochrome, I'll do it.
Careful, don't say that. Not in this.
I don't mean like don't get it from a child.
Oh my god.
Scare
if
grandma.
You're gonna do it in an ethical way.
Like how DMT is perfectly natural too. It occurs naturally in our body as well.
You just wear
that's the chemical that is released when we're dying, and why people experience, religious type or afterlife type experiences where they see God or they see heaven, because the DMT is being released to help us deal with the fact that we're fucking goners.
The way I naturally harvest adrenochrome is I throw on an Obama mask and I walk into like an assisted living.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
walk into a VA hospital, just shout contact left.
So real quick, I want to propose a few thoughts to you guys. I think I may have said this earlier. Maybe I said it about something else, but the
all right, Joe Biden.
The accusations of celebrity involvement in these pedophilia rings are clearly fraud. I mean, they're just all over the place.
Except for Tom Hanks, right?
Yeah,
right. He's clearly guilty.
And Oprah.
Well, this is what I want to.
Of course, Oprah.
This is what I want to present: is that statistically speaking, just like with murder, people may be agoraphobic, and they're afraid that everybody around them in a public space may be out to get them and kill them. We feel this about our children too. I have a 21-month-old and I'm very protective of her, and I do worry about abduction for obvious reasons. But my analytical mind and what I know about statistics helps me guard myself from that. So what I want to get to is that in the case of murder, we are orders of magnitude more likely to be murdered by somebody close to us than we are a stranger. And that remains true for molestation and child rape and abuse. Absolutely. So, there are fathers and mothers and uncles and aunts and all these people who are close to us that are more likely to sell our children into a child trafficking scheme than all of Hollywood could ever hope to accomplish. So what I want to get out there in the ether is that
Hollywood doesn't sell, it just buys.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I think a fair
But-
point
but-
would be
That was a
to
joke.
stop hanging out with family.
Well, no.
Isolate yourself.
That's actually a very profound way to put it, and something I didn't really consider. So thank you. But what I want to get at is that we are being sold, or some of us don't buy it, but certainly probably the people in this conversation right now, we are being sold a boogeyman that distracts us from the true threats, and that is, if you're not paying attention to how your child behaves around family or even close friends, if you're not noticing that they are a little skittish or very regularly recoil from an uncle or a grandfather or even their own father, and you're more worried about bullshit claims against an actor you've never spoken with or has been in contact with your family at any level,
I agree 100%.
you
Me too. I agree. With
are irresponsible. At the worst, you are just irresponsible.
I think it's convenient to blame people that are never going to be around you. I think that's, the same thing as like the riots. You got people in fucking rural areas going, let Antifa come here and break into my trailer.
Like the guy that
Yeah.
guarded the memorial outside of the Campbell County Courthouse.
I
Oh
think it-
my god, dude. All the fucking bullshit, like, yo, I heard there's gonna be a riot. And then it turned out to be three adults and 2 children standing by the Prior Parrot billboard with Black Lives Matter signs, like,
oh dear.
and people were still mad about that.
Well, let me correct myself. At the very best, you're irresponsible. At the very worst, you're implicit. Sorry, I needed to correct what I said previously.
I think it really speaks to the Schadenfreude of
What's that? Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Okay.
Schadenfreude.
Siegfried and Roy.
The whole fact that we're just so ready to accept any of these celebrities or pedophiles, we're just like rubbing our hands together like, yeah, who's next? Who's going down next? I want to watch this guy's whole life fall apart.
Drew Carey.
Well, I mean, it's just another form of cancel culture that is toxic and destructive.
Well, real quick, Drew Carey just got the most fame he's had in a while by you mentioning him. So you're
No, the
Damn.
the price is right.
The price is wrong, bitch.
The price.
So wait, did I hear
Has to
we
be
wanted to move on to identity politics?
No,
I don't know. I mean, is there still more pedophile
Oh yeah.
shit?
So
Well, go ahead.
One of the
Sorry.
thoughts I had, and it kind of goes off on a tangent from what you were saying, Griffith. I think pedophilia was. We started having these laws that pop up that outlaw or move us away from having child brides and things like that. What probably in the 50s, 60s, 70s really started moving away from that.
Yeah, arranged
Because-
marriages, what have you.
Correct.
Yeah, I think Ted Nugent was the last one.
I was in the Marines with a guy who's in his 20s and he had a 14-year-old wife. She
Oh.
literally
Ooh,
she transferred
Was this
to
that's tough.
Camp Lejeune
this-
High School.
Was
Well,
this allowed during, like he was already
I mean,
That's
active in the
some
Marines?
states, 14, you can marry with parents' permission.
I
Yes, it
believe
was parents
Alabama is one of them.
with parents' permission. It might have been Alabama.
But
I'm not sure.
Early, I was in the
Well.
army, and a lot of people would just get married for the extra money. I'm sure.
Sure. It was contract marriage and everything else, but she actually moved with him. This is a legit
Wow.
marriage.
Oh,
She,
that's
she checked into Camp Lejeune High School. She had
Oh
to
my
transfer
God.
as a freshman
insane.
because she
I
was
could
married.
I could never imagine being like,
How do you explain that
You know,
to people?
oh shit, if I let you marry this fucking weird old man, I'm gonna get some cash.
I mean,
That's some
is it like an
biblical shit.
American
shit.
dowry?
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, like,
I mean,
what
that
the
was the
fuck
thing
is that
from
about?
like
Let me-
5000 BC until 100 years ago.
Well, and
it was just like, okay.
Early
if he rapes you before you're married, you get a little bit extra.
Well, Walker, real quick, this is definitely something I would like to.
Walker's not.
Sorry. Okay, I was looking at the.
I'm at Walker's house.
He who should not be named.
Okay, Patrick. Sorry. So, Patrick, you're the one who said you're conservative earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I really want to have
or at least
more a back and forth with you right now. And this is probably the last salient topic on child pedophilia to me that I feel like I need or want to discuss. And I would like to address you specifically because of you identifying
sure.
as a conservative. I fucking hate identity politics, so I hate to even say that. So anyway, there is a movement. I'll call it a movement. Okay. To get people to call pedophilia a sexual orientation. Now, let me really unpack this before you respond, okay? Sure. Please. I see a lot of pushback from
I have some
people
shit to say about this too, by the way.
Okay, well, let me unpack this real quick. I see a lot of people really taking the idea of it being a sexual orientation to task. And I have a real problem with this because it doesn't address the nuts and bolts of the issue. Let's really examine what sexual orientation as a phrase really means. So sexual would encompass everything from literal vaginal or anal penetration or fellatio. And it also encompasses everything that people are freaked out about Joe Biden, the weird shoulder touches, the smelling, all of that is sexual. Okay.
All right.
Orientation literally means where you're facing, what you're oriented to at the time. So if I am facing south, my orientation is south. So sexual orientation by these definitions is completely irrelevant to the atrocity of child abuse. So why even care that somebody is trying to say, hey, it's a sexual orientation? Why don't you respond with, well, okay, you have a sexual orientation of pedophilia. You belong in jail. That does not excuse. That is not exculpatory to the abuse you are committing. Okay? Just because you are sexually oriented to loving little boys or girls and you're a 38-year-old man, and let's say worst case scenario, their prefrontal cortex is not properly malleolated. Okay. And they have a legitimate reason, they were born with a predisposition to having this really fucked sexual desire that abusing a child is the sexiest thing that they could possibly imagine. Okay.
I can see where you're coming from. And I agree with everything you're saying, but it's
what I'm getting long-winded about is it's the wrong hill to die on.
Sure.
We need to tell these people, you are sexually oriented for that. That does not excuse you abusing this child.
Well,
Someone's gonna fucking.
What you're saying. I think that what happens is people on social media get into this internet shorthand where that they don't fully expound upon what they mean by what they say. You can have a sexual orientation, but that doesn't mean it's a societally accepted sexual orientation. And I think people just start saying sexual orientation because it's just a quicker to say than to say.
Well, it's a non sequitur.
Well, I'm not
right. Am I wrong?
I'm simply saying
I think the correct word should be sexual preference.
Okay, I mean that's a lot.
Like I said, I think
people
just interchange terms without really thinking about what the ramifications of that is.
Well, and synonyms can be very confusing, especially whenever there is a stigma assigned to a specific word. So what I mean by that is sexual orientation, because of the integration or acceptance of homosexuality. That's a sexual orientation that you're born with. Okay.
Yeah.
And the conservative right now assigns that as saying, oh, well, that phrase, that terminology immediately excuses immoral acts. Bullshit. It does not. That you're getting emotional about a non-emotional term. It is nuts and bolts, sexual. Anything that involves what we would call foreplay or the actual act of sex. Orientation. What direction are you looking in? That's as simple as I can make it. Don't die on that hill.
Scene,
I don't disagree with you at all. I think people just get caught up in like an internet shorthand, especially conservatives who aren't as. I think everyone would agree here that the left is a little more skews more Gen Z, millennial, and they're a little more tech savvy than some of your normal like Gen X and boomer conservatives. So I think they just get caught up in this internet shorthand, and they say words without really meaning what the words mean, or without thinking about the ramifications of it.
Okay, I can get down. I can boogie with that.
That doesn't excuse the silliness.
I want to say something though.
Oh, hold on. I think Hal has. Yeah.
Go ahead, Hal.
Yeah. All right. And this is, totally personal point of view or whatever. So, having been a part of the punk rock scene, the fucking drug scene that comes with that, I've seen a lot of people that I see, now that are like, traditional marriage, traditional this, whatever.
Yeah,
that like dude, I seen you suck a dick. Or I seen you, with your girlfriend. Like, there's a lot of fucking hypocrites here that
Yes.
Like, if you were truly like not attracted to women or men, just, depending on what the race is or the gender is, you wouldn't have been there in the first place.
So where are you driving with this?
Where I'm going with it is I think that a lot of people that are, as far as like sexual preference goes, they're just bullshitting.
So you don't think it is a sexual orientation or a sexual preference?
I do think it's sexual preference. I think that...
I have a question for the group if everybody wants to weigh in real quick.
Okay.
To me, homosexuality, I think studies have shown that you're born that way.
Sure.
Now,
it's definitely a natural
I don't know
thing.
if there's
you don't think
a wide range of studies that have been done as much as with homosexuality, and most of the high profile pedophiles were also abused as children themselves. So I wonder how much of pedophilia is genetic and how much of it is environmental. Like, which one's nature versus nurture? Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think a lot of it is environmental.
I can agree with that, but
I don't know. I'm just asking the question. I don't know.
Right.
I think
I can
a
agree
lot of
with
it's
that.
probably environmental, and then some of it comes from what we're hearing now as the incel.
Oh dear.
Well,
situation.
I definitely have some thoughts about that because Charles Murray authored The Bell Curve, and it's a very controversial book, and I hate to even bring it up because I don't want to offend anybody, but it focuses on heritability of traits and group differences involving genetics. And if you really dive into the material, it isn't as bad as what people make it out to be. More specifically, liberals make it out to be.
Are you suggesting there's a link between pedophilia and genetics or epigenetics?
Well, that's what I'm really about to dive into, is that we are, as a society, not me specifically, I'm just reading what they discover, but we are really on the just beginning of understanding genetics. I mean, we haven't even fully mapped the genome across all species. So understanding heritability of certain traits, whether it be intelligence, sexual preference, proclivities for self-destructive behavior, i.e. alcoholism or drug addiction, whether you're predisposed to being more sensitive to falling prey to that mental illness. We really just don't know, but the research is trying to solve these problems. Okay, now as far as genetics go, when it comes to sexual orientation, it's not entirely sure whether that is a heritable trait. Okay, in homosexuality, it's postulated that it's very likely that a woman who has nothing but male children, and say she has 6 of them, that each time she has that child, the Y chromosome is interpreted by her immune system as something foreign that needs to be expelled. Okay, so her immune system actively attacks the fetus because the Y chromosome doesn't match any of her chromosomes. She has XX chromosomes. She doesn't have Y chromosome.
I'm with you
so far. The immune system attacks, and what that causes is genetic
abnormalities.
Decay. Yeah. So what happens, or what is postulated to happen, is that because of this event, that males that are born after a succession of previous males, because your immune system gets better at fighting what it doesn't want over time. So the more experience you have with that a woman has with carrying a male fetus, her immune system is going to be better at attacking it. So what some research has shown, or seems to show, is there is a degradation of the DNA and the genes of that fetus, to where they tend to pick up on male pheromones, okay, not female pheromones. And that's what drives the desire for homosexuality, which is okay. It's perfectly natural. But that is the scientific explanation.
I think something that we can all agree on is that homosexuality isn't a choice. Like, sexual orientation,
I don't feel like it is.
Isn't a choice.
I
right?
agree. I don't feel like it is.
Are we all on the same page there?
Yes.
I think we are.
All right.
I mean,
so,
because
people have animals that fuck each other in the ass.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Hal.
Oh, man,
nature, you see homosexuality in nature. I don't know if you ever see pedophilia in nature. I don't know that. I'm not a zoologist, but
you do. I've actually
you see not only pedophilia but cannibalism.
Well, yeah.
I was also going to bring up like animals that also have sex for pleasure, like dolphins and emus.
I mean, polar bears will go and fucking.
They tend to be more likely to be homosexual than animals that only have sex for reproductive purposes.
Well, that's
fucking weird to me.
That's where cognitive abilities give rise to actual choice. For, let's say, a dung beetle, there's no cognitive choice there. Those beetles are reproducing out of a biological need to have continuity of their species, whereas dolphins, dogs, even at some level, humans, most of all, all levels of apes, including us, chimpanzees.
Jason, I ain't no damn monkey.
Now, hold on. we all across these different species enjoy the pleasures of sex. Okay. So that the pleasure of sex is actually, to some degree, at least in the moment, more salient to us than to us than the idea of procreating our species. Right? Am I wrong there?
No, you're not wrong.
Okay,
You're not wrong.
So if you have that level of cognitive ability, then you don't much care for what you're assaulting, right? So I saw a video of a chimpanzee that was literally throat fucking a frog. Is that not rape?
What?
That's
no,
it's a lot of
say that again.
There's a lot of rape in the animal world.
I mean, repeat that. I didn't hear what you said the first time.
I saw a video. My gosh, intellectually, this is mind-numbing. But I saw a video of a chimp.
Yeah, but sexually, it's stimulating, right?
Jesus, you're into bestiality.
How's the gutter?
Tell me about that chimp fucking a frog.
But to see that exists with the more highly cognitive species outside of humans kind of shows that there are disorders in the brain that can lead otherwise rational people to very irrational beliefs, to actions, and three, a conglomerate of the first two, a lifestyle.
Well, that begs the question to me. Then is it wrong of us as a society to call something like transgenderism gender dysphoria? Because that sort of gives a stigma to the situation.
It has a connotation.
An acceptance of the situation.
Come on now.
I really don't want to talk about that because I don't know enough about it.
Come on, Patrick. Don't make me virtue.
No.
Stop, Hal. Stop.
Just...
No. I'm just saying I won't speak on anything. I'm going to say it
12 times.
I won't speak on anything if I truly haven't looked into it. And gender dysphoria, I have not looked into. So maybe Patrick.
If you guys want to talk about that,
I think that's entirely valid. There's a negative connotation that comes with the expression dysphoria.
Right.
I have a lot of friends
and I'm wondering if there's value societally. There's value for us to make those labels, or if for an acceptance purposes we choose not to. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
Can you repeat that for 1 second?
Yeah, sorry. So I'm wondering societally if it's better for us to label genetic mutations, whatever term you want to use for what you
abnormalities.
Insert whatever term works. Do we want to label those as such, or do we want to not, in order for those people to gain acceptance, because those are usually vulnerable populations?
Well, I would say that definitely we would want to be careful about how we implement such terminology, because we don't want to disparage people who, fall along those lines, because they're not, as far as the LGBTQ community, they're not bad people. They are engaging in sexual acts with consenting beings. Just like with pedophilia, bestiality, we can't properly communicate with other species. So having sex with a member of another species is inherently
rape.
Non-consensual.
Right.
Yeah, rape. Because let's say a dog. Let's say a dog. We can give commands to a dog and a dog can understand it, but the level of cognitive
learned behavior.
Understand it. It's learned behavior. Oh, thank you. So I know who I'm talking to now.
Patrick.
They don't truly understand. They hear something and react. They don't have any any level of understanding about what's going on. So why that's dangerous is because if you, let's say Hal, because you're the most depraved of us, you decide that you're going to you're going to regularly have sex with your pet dog, and then you choose to just stop. Well, that dog is going to want to find fulfillment in what it may have seemed or saw as a pleasurable act. It's going to aggressively pursue that with somebody else. They have no way of truly understanding what's going on.
Yeah, and I think that's why when it comes to like abuse victims, you see them eventually once
become
they
abusers.
I guess are of age.
Cycle.
Well, not even that. I think you know, and I'm gonna throw a disclaimer out there. I'm not talking about all women. I'm not speaking for women.
Sure,
but I will say that most cases that I've seen where a female was abused, they go out eventually and become very promiscuous.
Well, now hold on. Don't blow past that. What are you saying?
I'm saying that at an early enough age, it becomes normal.
He's saying that if you normalize a child being having sex with a child at a young age, that child is going to continue to seek out that sexual fulfillment biologically like an animal.
I mean, that's why it's such a despicable crime for anything to do with children or animals or anybody else unable to consent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it destroys their entire life.
It becomes normative, and
inadvertently it destroys generation.
Yeah, because that gets passed down. Now, actually, you just reminded me. I didn't
go into epigenetics at that point.
Yeah, I didn't get into the other part of what I was going to say in reference to Charles Murray's works in heritability in genetics and what that means in contrast to unshared environments. Okay. So you can look at twin studies. Okay. And for any listeners that are currently listening, twin studies are exactly what they sound like. They're studies on siblings who are genetic twins. You can find in these twin studies that there are a lot of similarities in their personality and who they become, and there are a lot of stark differences. The unshared environment is simply defined as, well, hold on, let me get into shared environment. Shared environment would be the home environment, where you have one or two parents, just an environment where both of the twins, they share it. The unshared environment would be two twins having different sets of friends and different influences. Now, this is where there is kind of a sharp wooden stake in the heart of the vampire of genetic heritability that you find in these twin studies. That environment or nurture, which it's more colloquially referred to, that the unshared environment has a pretty damn big role. And what these studies find is that the unshared environment may be the most prevalent thing in a child's development. Okay. So let's take a set of twins where one is physically abused by her uncle and one that is not, one that is mostly ignored by the uncle. You're probably going to see, as I think Phillip said, you're probably going to see the abused twin get into prostitution, get into drugs, get into all kinds of dysfunctional behaviors. Okay. Whereas the other twin is probably going to be functional and probably going to lead a fulfilling life outside of her grief for her, sister that is just destroyed.
I would say you're probably correct. I mean, it's not. I think things like that are situational, though.
Well, yeah, and the unshared and shared environment are completely situational.
Well, Griffith, the way I look at it is life is a big giant box. When you're born, your genetic material kind of puts you in this. You could go all the way over here to the left side of the box, or you could always go over here to the right side of the box, the top of the box, the bottom of the box. You could be anywhere in that box, but the environment you're in skews you one direction or the other. Is that a fair way to look at it?
So you're saying that, let's say the sixth boy born to the same mother has a predisposition for homosexuality. Let's say even let's get a little less controversial and say that a child born of an alcoholic father has a predisposition to alcoholism. If they're not put in an environment that actually has alcohol, say they're born on an island where they haven't discovered alcohol,
right?
They can't become an alcoholic.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying a predisposition doesn't mean it's gonna happen. It just, if introduced,
what are you trying to say? Quickly. What are you trying to say in reference to heritability then?
Well, what I'm saying is that
because everybody's going to be born in a society with children and same sex.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I had a caveat to put in there, and I apologize.
No, go ahead.
Everybody is born into a society that has children and same sex. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, like I said, your genetic material is the box you're born in. And this may be very simplistic, but it kind of gives you a map that you can navigate for your life. So,
okay.
But you can go any direction on that map, which could be a wide range, but because of your environment, you don't go one way, even if you were maybe genetically predisposed to go that way. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's kind of a, that's a different way of saying what I just said.
Right. I was trying to understand it.
No. You unpacked it beautifully.
Okay.
And I was trying to think, and I can't think of anything you just said that is orthogonal to anything I said. So yeah, you're right on board with my idea there.
Okay, great. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Well, hey, I definitely don't want to make myself the de facto moderator here, but
go ahead.
Could we get to Beirut and maybe identity politics? Because nuclear.
We can probably find more disagreement there.
Well, that's more fun.
Let's at least hit the identity politics thing, because there's still so much coming out of Beirut that can't really call it yet. So,
well, the Lebanese government resigned today.
Save the hell. Do what?
The whole government resigned today.
What?
Their entire government resigned.
Even the prime minister.
That's some suspect
the prime minister announced the government was resigned.
I mean,
so he retired the government.
Yeah. I guess that means they're going to have
the Syrian puppet government for a long time, anyways.
JoJo 2020.
God damn! Like, you want to talk about something that just screams of a top leader just putting the blame on everybody else but himself. Fuck that. I am more interested in identity politics at this time until we get more information out of Lebanon.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, okay, so cancel culture.
I love it.
I hate it.
am so
No, I mean the topic.
Oh.
I'm
love
so
it.
Love cancel
destroyed.
culture.
Cancel me, daddy.
I'm so destroyed by the ability for 8 people in Campbell County, 200 people in Knoxville, 10,000 people in New York, what have you, whatever population you want to look at, for these amount of people to look at a tweet from somebody, a tweet that says all lives matter, which I fucking hate all lives matter, but
I don't say
Yeah,
it.
where they at?
for them to tweet that out and lose their job, or for their wife, like a soccer player for the LA Galaxy,
Madness. Total.
his
Yeah.
wife tweeted out all lives matter and he was fired. That level of reactionary action, or that level of reactionary politics, which is reactionary, refers to the conservative right.
Factual.
For
That's
that
factual.
to be so prevalent in liberal identity politics, very alarming. So really, what I would like to do is I would like to not talk very much during this part. I want to hear you guys.
Oh man. All right.
I'm good with that.
So we're gonna go on.
Where do you want us to, Hal?
Oh yeah, I'm already on it.
Go for it.
Correct me if I'm virtue signaling.
Jesus Christ!
Don't do
Right.
that.
Yeah, let's pull a fucking mess of a show like last week. But no, I want to start with something here. We still have this narrative from both sides that, oh, the protests are, warranted. They're, they're good. They're great. And then you have the other side going, oh, I only heard, it's like, only peaceful protests. Oh, yeah. Mocking. I posted a few videos earlier in the open table where it's talking about gangs within police department, which is something that we don't hear very often.
Yeah,
It's very prevalent, but we don't talk about it because blue lives matter. I
don't
think
say
it's
that
really
either.
weird that we can condemn the surface while we knowingly let the underbelly rot. Not just knowingly. We become part of it. We push for it without knowing it. You have. It's impossible to just turn a blind eye to what's going on with the police state, and we do it anyway.
So, if you want to
pretend that
leftist,
it's not there.
if you want a leftist perspective on the whole thing,
Early, you go and then I'll go.
okay. When I see stuff like all these Facebook Karens and all these boomers all over the place posting the N-word on Facebook and just saying really despicable, vulgar, racist stuff, and then watching the videos of them apologizing after they lost their jobs, like, does that make me upset? No, it doesn't. I'm okay with it.
Hold on, can I interject just for 1 second? So you don't think that a moment of irrationality?
No, I didn't
Can't
say
be
that at all.
aggrieved.
No.
It can't be aggrieved.
I
I
understand
don't
that
think this is
there's
just a moment. It takes more than a moment for you to use the fucking N-word.
Okay,
Right.
fair enough.
So
but-
am I not acknowledging that this stuff goes on where the outrage culture is to the extreme where people are, being put in precarious positions because family members or they themselves said something that was controversial but not like overtly offensive? No, I'm not saying that. Like, I don't like to see that. I don't like people getting doxxed any more than the next guy. But there's also to lump it in together with these hordes of MAGA hot sunglass wearing boomers. They're just dropping N-bombs all over Facebook and then getting screenshotted. Like, am I feeling sorry for those people? No. Good. I'm happy they're getting outed, and I'm happy that they get what's coming to them. I'm okay with it.
I'm happy they're getting outed, but I definitely want them to still be able to provide for their family in the meantime. That's all I want to say to that.
Well, I also
you
don't
could have
want
that whole thing, but
I'm sorry.
Wait,
go ahead.
Sorry, what'd you say?
no, I was just saying you cut out for that whole thing on mine. I'm like in and out.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know what's going on with the.
No, I'm just saying
here.
I'm super glad that they're being outed and given to the world for their scruples, but I don't want them to not be able to provide for their family who are
innocent
neutral actors. Yeah, innocent neutral actors. They have no moral agency in what was said. So again, losing your job over statements, I do have a problem with.
I actually don't have a huge problem
here
with people. Oh, go ahead, Hal.
Hold on, yeah, Hal.
What I find funny about cancel culture, or people that use that term, so we've got federal agents descending on towns, and they're like, essentially squandering free speech. Fuck the riots, fuck this, fuck that, whatever. It's only convenient for them when it's working for them. And anyone that understands liberty, especially people on the right that are, pro-Constitution, I'm doing air quotes if you can't see me. They're all about like, man, it's a free country, until it becomes a problem with what they believe in. They're talking about local businesses. Oh man, fucking, what about the local businesses? And then I see these same motherfuckers in my own town that don't shop locally. They never shop locally. Ever. They never make it a point to do that. Most of them look at it as you're a poor piece of shit if that's what you do. If you go to these little local stores. So I call bullshit on all that. I think it's, this cancel culture only, it only goes so far before it becomes you doing it.
Well, Hal,
Right. And I agree with that so much, because at any given point, we could say something controversial that isn't controversial to the masses, but is controversial to enough people to where now we've lost our ability for monetary gain. And
Right,
Walker, I'll shut the hell up so you can talk. Sorry.
They'll be like, nasty.
Patrick, my bad.
They'll call it nasty to shop at, a local produce mart. But then they'll go buy something that's been fucking ripened in store in a fucking warehouse.
Or yeah, the inverse of that is really digging in your heels to support Chick-fil-A, even though they obviously supported very, tenuous organizations that really railed against the LGBTQ community. So I get what you're saying.
I don't know. I mean, that's fine. If you hate queers, go ahead.
Jesus.
Go eat Chick-fil-A, but don't be upset that other places that aren't about that exist.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if Walmart was like, we 100% support homosexuals, transgenders, this and that, you're going to hear all these goddamn idiot rednecks be like, man, that's fucking ridiculous. This is my America, my God. God's an American. They're still going to go to Walmart.
Yeah.
They're still going to go there. They're going to spend fucking $8,000 on a goddamn TV.
Well, now I would say
where does that conviction actually come from? I think it's all bullshit.
Well, it is, and I would say how that maybe you're grouping in some people that are a part of a culture, in Southern culture, like, okay, Patrick, for example, he doesn't
people that are not about what the fuck they talk about.
Okay, but no, I get that. Hypocrites, and Patrick is certainly not one of those.
Mostly,
but mostly,
yeah.
But I would think that maybe erring on the side of caution that with Southern culture, we have a little more. Like, hey, it's not everybody. Like, just like with BLM, hey, it's not all of BLM. Do you get what I'm saying here? I'm really trying to tread these waters carefully.
No, I don't. I'm actually I'm gonna fucking put a cap on that because firsthand I've seen. There's several members of the group. I'm not naming their names. I think that would be disrespectful. Some of them have families. Some of them have gone on to do
fucking hell, burn it all down.
But as far as let's just only stick to homosexuality. I personally have taken in people that their families have said, all right, this is fucked up. We're not going to allow for this. This is weird. This is weird to us. So I've gotten to see it firsthand that it's not weird. It's not some fucked up, like, you don't like have some fucking zombie ass lesbian living in your house. These are normal people. They go to work. They do everything else that's normal. So I don't understand that whole Southern shit. Like, all right, yeah, it's bad to have sex with someone from the same gender, but I'll surely go on and fuck Cousin May. Like, that's bullshit to me. And they hide behind the Bible, most of them. They're like, well, God said this, and half of them, if not more, have never even fucking cracked the book open, more than where their teacher or the preacher was like, I want you to open your books to Zechariah. We're going to talk about that. So that whole like
Zechariah
moral high. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
He's probably
I'm just being
Deuteronomy more than okay.
But
I was actually asking.
It makes no sense to me. The people that I know that are, actual Christians that study their Bible, open their shit up, regardless of, them living here in the Bible Belt or maybe up north or maybe even in different countries. They don't seem to think that way. It's almost specifically like here in the Bible Belt. that people have those weird ass fucked up beliefs. You know, and it's mostly from people that they'll never meet in their life. It makes no sense to me.
I want to ask you, do you hold that same belief about the Middle East?
Sure.
Okay, because that's the Quran belt of.
I think people.
I've never heard that before.
I get that question. I get that question a lot. They're like, well, "Why don't you ever say nothing about no damn Muslims?" And I'm like, "Well, I didn't grow up in the Muslim belt."
Yeah, but you have suffered the
I've
effects.
seen it.
No, you've suffered the effects of their tenets of religion. So I just want to make it very clear that how I understand you.
That's what's weird. It's like most Christians don't realize that they study an Eastern religion.
Yeah, well, I just don't want to misinterpret you. Your crusade, to use religious terminology, is not just against Christianity. It's against religious dogmatism in its whole. Correct?
100%.
Okay. I just wanted to make that very clear. And I also wanted to give Patrick some space here.
Definitely, thank you.
Whenever you finish up, I think good. Patrick had a very poignant statement to make.
I just wanted to point all that out because
I hope so too.
I think the last episode and the episode before that, I got a weird. I think people labeled me wrong, so I wanted to make it clear that, you know.
Well,
I support you in your religious freedom, but that religious freedom doesn't come without backlash. Especially when you've hid pedophiles for years.
No, I am also... I've grown up in the Judeo-Christian tradition. I'm not extremely religious. I probably haven't been to church in 20 years.
Well, can we define Judeo-Christianism as Islam, Christianity, and Judaism? So when you say Judeo-Christian, that also involves Islam.
Sure. I mean, Islam and Christianity share prophets. It's very similar morality, except for obviously some French things, I think.
Yeah, like in the Hadith, where it grants for adults marrying children, and that like ties back into the pedophilia thing.
Correct.
That we were talking about.
Correct. Well, what Hal was talking about earlier, I was actually thinking about when his example of the local business versus like the Walmart, for example. I actually think that's more of a failure of globalism than anything else. No, that's a whole different topic, but I don't want to. I don't like questioning people's motives unless I have a obvious reason to do so. Like,
Patrick, can I clear that up for just a second?
Yeah, sure.
My personal outlook on that is I'm someone that I don't watch TV. I don't buy a lot of shit. The only time I really buy into corporatism is if it's something that my daughter wants. I don't require a lot as a person.
You're not materialistic.
Most people that know me know that, like, you know, I mean, I'm the same dude that I would rather piss outside than, you know, flush a toilet if it was up to me.
I think there's like
I only buy in.
You libtard environmentalist.
Yeah, I only buy into corporatism because I'm a father.
I'm required to by having a child.
Yeah,
I feel you.
But yeah, continue.
But yes, so
I just wanted to clear that up.
Culture, I think what you have to try to not do is look back several years. Like if I'm being fired from my job today for something I said 15 years ago, and just because it's been immortalized on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, maybe I was stupid back then. Maybe I've learned a lot since then. America used to be about second chances. It used to be about, if somebody messed up, society, they came out and apologized, society gave them another chance. Now it's a race to cancel them as quickly as possible. I think that's where it's gone off the rails. And I don't mind firing someone who last week said the N-word or last week denigrated homosexuals or anybody in the LGBT community, because a business has to thrive within those communities. You can't have employees representing a business that sells products to those communities and have those communities come in and buy those products if you have employees espousing bigotry and discrimination.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And I'd like to chime in just for a second, because I think it's very important that people understand that a woman doctor, who we all know about at this point, has a very real, salient fear of demon sperm and alien DNA, and she's co-opting her beliefs about those things into her medical practice in promoting hydroxychloroquine. That
you don't
is
believe that
familiar.
You don't believe there's alien DNA and demon sperm?
Oh, God damn it. I'm done with the jokes. Yes, I don't believe that.
Did you guys not see X-Files? Come on.
Yeah, dude.
But yes, I have. She's a
Agent
pediatrician.
Scully.
She is a pediatrician. I would not have that woman look at my daughter if my daughter had a stake going through her neck. Like, I hate to even say that because it's so
racist.
No, it's so heart-wrenching to even think of my daughter in a deathy situation.
Yeah, it sucks.
If that doctor was the only doctor around, I would be reticent to have her care for Emery. Now, if that was the only doctor in conceivable distance for life-saving measures, of course, yes, my daughter would go under her care. But if it comes,
she'd be better off not.
Why?
I'm not sure.
Now wait, why? Hal, you just swung the pendulum in.
You have a person who believes some shit like that. Why would they be in better care?
Well, certainly this doctor knows
on her.
Well, no. This doctor actually has functional knowledge of the human body. She may carry some really asinine beliefs, but in a life-saving, a deathy situation, I will say, she can, that doctor can save my daughter's life.
Let's take her back to Nigeria, where this person practiced.
Okay.
And or any weird fucking country that still holds those beliefs. I don't know that it's okay to put your child in the care of someone like that.
Okay, so let's say she carries a belief that really intervenes with her functioning knowledge of science or medical science.
She does.
She does. She most certainly does, Hal.
But several.
But let's say her practice is dangerous. At the very least, she still has a functioning. She's functionally better than me in saving my daughter's life for plugging an artery or cauterizing a wound than I can.
Put it this way. Put it this way, guys. You guys would both think that driving in a car is a life or death situation. More people die riding in cars than anything, pretty much. So if a mechanic thinks the earth is flat, which is scientifically unsound, would you let him work on your car that you drive your kids in or you drive yourself in? Just
if his belief
thinks he's a flat earth or thinks he believes in aliens doesn't mean he can't work on a car.
If his belief
fucking stupid, that's my problem.
Well,
And,
if his belief in the flat earth tells him that a piston will not be driven upward from an explosion from gasoline in the cylinder, then yeah, there's a problem there. Or I'm sorry, driven downward.
I don't know that
it would be hard to drill down on somebody's beliefs that deeply before you either took them on as a physician or a mechanic, for that matter. The only reason we know is because she came out and said so. Otherwise, we wouldn't.
Right.
Jason, I love you, dude, but
you think I'm off base?
Yeah, in a little bit. Like,
so
I don't
in a life saving.
All right, dude, check this out.
Okay,
this is the way I'm gonna put it. You already had your like analogy, sort of, I guess.
Me.
And well, no,
Jason had one.
Oh, okay.
And
it may have been piss poor, and I can acknowledge that.
It was weird to me. I won't say it was piss poor. Because some people in Nigeria would probably agree with you. But what I'm saying is, like, all right, man, say your kid's got fucking, disease X, right? And
Call it
the
cancer.
answer, well, no. Like, the answer, the remedy is Z.
Okay.
But all you get is some weird A and B shit. And it's almost like that faith healing shit. I just can't get behind any of that.
Okay, well, I see where you're going with that, but there's a
demons and witches do not cause STDs.
No, they don't. But there are two different. There are two different aspects of medicine, Hal, and that is. Well, hold on. Let me flesh this out. Let me unpack.
I get wrote off if I say one thing wrong. This motherfucker's got like, all right, dude, take some zinc if you've got a cold, and it'll probably be less. But also, if you've got fucking chlamydia, stop having sex with demons.
Well, that's a long-term diagnosis issue. Whereas, let's say this doctor, I think she's from Texas, or lives in Texas and is from Nigeria or wherever. She can distinguish in the moment of an emergency whether or not there is a dissection of the carotid artery.
Well,
and she can plug that, and she can provide temporary life-saving measures to that immediate need. Whereas, and this is why I wanted to use cancer, maybe because of her demon sperm beliefs, she doesn't properly diagnose or even consider cancer as an option for a child to go to an oncologist to get a proper diagnosis. That's where it's problematic. But yes, so for an in the moment life-saving measures, yes, I fully trust her to save my daughter's life.
When a police officer can't distinguish between a mental health subject and someone that's fucking dangerous,
apples and oranges,
kill that person. No, I don't know. I don't think it really is.
Well,
it goes back down to the training issue that we talked about earlier.
Trained in that, exactly. When you're someone that's trained in that, if she was our last doctor on Earth, I would just go ahead and let our fucking species die off.
Okay, fair enough.
And 99% of the situations, I would agree with you entirely, Hal. I actually do agree with Griffith on this one. In an emergency, when you have no other choice, I would just go with the best option, which is no good option, but the best one.
It goes back to the mechanic, the nuts and bolts of the situation. They can repair or change out your alternator, but they may also believe in the flying teacup orbiting Jupiter. That's inconsequential to the immediate need of having my car run. Now, if that flying
specialist decided that,
but she's not a specialty. She doesn't have a specialty. She's not an oncologist.
Right. But she's still people that, regardless of this entire conversation, there are people that are taking her fucking seriously during a goddamn global pandemic.
Okay, I can get on board with what you're doing there.
We're not talking about a fucking specific situation like where your kids, there's no doctors left, and it's some weird I don't know if you guys have ever watched The Tribe, but it's not one of those situations. This is where there's still fucking billions of people, and we're sitting here discussing whether or not a doctor who believes that a goddamn magic 8-ball is psychic and it's a way to bring children towards Satan. This woman believes that sexual encounters in your dreams cause STDs.
Oh God. I'd forgotten about that one.
Well, I think we can all agree she's round the bend. I don't think anybody disagrees.
I would hang out with her. Like, I think that's
she's interesting. Here. Why wouldn't you hang out with her?
She's everyone.
You get academic knowledge coupled with these insane ideas. Like, that's the most interesting person you could probably hang out with.
I feel like I'm probably more. I don't know. I feel like I have more medical credentials than her.
Oh, easy now. Come on. That Dunning-Kruger effect. Come on.
Well, I mean,
listen, I'm
go ahead.
Are you
all aboard for a little bit? Yeah. I mean, I'm all for calling people on their bullshit, which you are the most adept person I know for that. But at the same time, I don't want to ignore somebody's credentials that they can provide life-saving measures. Does that make sense?
I wouldn't ignore it, but I also it wouldn't be the overriding.
I just don't want to agree with you right now. Is the only thing.
Hal, this is the first time in a long time we've disagreed.
I don't like witch doctors.
Well, she's not a witch doctor. She's a medical doctor.
Witch doctor
is though. She's like a witch doctor. That fucking oh man, you're like the best witch doctor. Let's give you 6 months of schooling.
Hal, she is a medical doctor. Listen, we're
so is Fauci, and everybody disagrees with him.
Well, there's a difference between her and Fauci. Fauci's career and his experience, which is what we talked about earlier, is much greater than hers as a pediatrician. He's worked in so many different ways to combat worldwide illnesses that are spreadable in a way that are very problematic. So yeah, his experience puts him on a different rung.
The problem
people
with Fauci
fucking
is that
believe her over him, though.
Sure.
Well, yeah, but that's confirmation bias.
the problem with Fauci is that he loses credibility every time he goes on the news and tries to talk like a politician or a bureaucrat.
Wait,
he's
hold
an
up.
administrator, not a
Patrick. I've never seen him talk as a politician. He has strictly
let me say what I mean
along
by
the lines of science.
No, let me say what.
Okay,
I mean
go
by
ahead.
That.
Sorry,
because he goes on different media outlets and sort of tailors his message to the media outlet that he's talking to. If he goes on CNN, he has all these negative things to say about the response. He goes on Fox News.
Well, wouldn't the onus be on the news network at that point?
Well, no, I'm
maybe they're presenting his sound bites in a way that kind of manufactures his message. I mean,
maybe I'm not discounting that. I'm saying that he knows who he's talking to. You know, he's very aware of that. And
what about his congressional hearings where his message has been congruent?
I'm not a hater. I'm not a Fauci hater or anything like that. I don't want to come off like I am. I just think that at the beginning of the pandemic, when he was out there saying nobody wear a mask, and he wasn't saying that because people shouldn't. He was saying he was worried about a run on masks and didn't want the healthcare system to be without them. And I think things like that, you lose credibility.
Shit like that gets fucking. Yeah, you lose shit like that gets misconstrued so much, though. Yes. When you have 100%. Somebody say, "All right, don't wear a mask," like it'd be like me going, if I said the N-word right now, people they're immediately. Well, no, I'm not going. Don't. I'm just saying that
you're a loose cannon.
It would immediately be turned into some fucking chopped up ass video that gets shared around, and people are going to go, "Oh man, look how racist all of these guys are." You know,
well, yeah, no reason
we're sharing,
and that pops back into
destroys
culture
all credibility.
Yeah, and that goes back into cancel culture, and
people are so goddamn stupid. They believe those videos. That people will seriously, they'll watch something. It's so painful.
Well,
they'll watch something that is literally fucking chopped to pieces, and be like, "Did you hear what so and so said? Here's a video," and it's just obviously bullshit. And then they'll sit and argue until their fucking dick turns blue.
Well,
it doesn't make any sense.
For a second, can you not ascribe that to maybe your interpretation of a few sound bites of this female African-American doctor?
Probably not, because
probably not.
Dude, come on, man. We're in that era where if you say one thing that's bullshit,
does that not put you in the culture of canceling people?
It just puts me in the culture of saying, "Hey man, you've got this really whacked out fucking belief, and you expect me to believe your other shit." Kind of goes back to the pedophilia thing.
Oh wow!
You know, we talked about Tom Hanks, Ellen DeGeneres is on fucking house arrest, and Oprah, she's canceled, and yada yada yada. How's that any different?
Which, by the way, Oprah is not canceled. Her TV network is still going on. And real quick, let me have an interjection.
Oprah
here.
is uncancelable.
She is.
What I'm saying is the same people that fucking buy into that are the ones that are going, listen to this doctor.
Okay, fair enough. I get what you're saying. But let me touch on something that I really didn't get to touch on when we were talking about the pedophilia topic. Oprah is a survivor of abuse. Okay.
Yeah.
The clip that was proliferated amongst all social media about her seemingly
having your old penis.
Yeah. Her talking.
That feels good.
She was talking about the nuts and bolts, not the emotional side. So what she was saying is that, if your son's uncle begins to, and God, I'm walking on a tightrope here. If your son's uncle begins to touch your son on his penis, and the son's biological reaction.
The way you're going about this makes it fucking hilarious.
I know, dude. Listen, I'm trying to walk a tightrope here. What she was saying is that a child's penis may become erect, and biologically speaking, it's pleasurable. The onus is on the predator that is doing the action. And what I mean by onus in this respect is that this is so heart-wrenching to talk about. The predator is truly trying to make the intellectually immature child feel good about what's happening, but at the same time trying to make them feel guilty about what's happening, because that's a deterrence for the child to tell their mother and father, or tell a social worker, or tell somebody that he's done it, because it feels good. The child thinks that in the moment it's a good thing, but then they're unable to process it emotionally afterwards. Now they think that they were the aggressive party. I may not be saying that in the best sense, but it boils down to making the victim feel guilty about the unspeakable action that was perpetrated against them. Okay. So
they stay quiet, right? That's what. So they feel guilty.
Exactly.
They don't talk about it, right? Okay.
Exactly.
My only issue personally with, and not even personally, it's just something that I've uncovered about Oprah, Ellen, all those like talk show type people, is my problem with Oprah is she's fake. She's like,
I don't know her.
Here's a car, and here's a car, and you get a car, and here's this. And then when it's at,
how
over,
would that?
She's like, but hey, you got to pay the sales tax.
We
got to make some money here.
Well,
you got a billionaire that claims that they're fucking changing people's lives every day, and they're fucking duping people into believing that. That's my problem with it. I don't give a fuck what she puts her money into elsewise. Like, it does not make a fuck to me. You're selling something that is a fucking lie, and you're an untruthful person, and that's how I look at everybody.
If I give away cars, and all I ask for is the sales tax, I don't think that you would just give away. I don't think that you would say that you were giving cars away for free for fucking 3 decades, without being like, hey, I'm helping you with a car. Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think you're that type of person.
Well, Hal, I'm pretty sure.
Most people, you have to understand that your level of intellect is not normal.
Well, thank you for not.
I'm not saying that in a good light. I'm saying that people watch that show and think, God, if I could just get on Ellen, or if I could get on Oprah, or if I could get on, what the fuck ever. Damn, I'll look under my seat and I got a car, or I've got this, or I've got this.
I get what you're saying.
And it's just it's a bullshit fucking capitalist tactic
that's why I respect a billionaire
right.
like Bezos a little more than Oprah, because he's and Bloomberg as well. I don't like him, but I respect him more than Oprah because he's a vulture capitalist and is not ashamed of it. He just tells you what he's going to do. I'm going to make money off you, and I'm going to spend my money. I'm going to buy the Washington Post. I'm going to
Patrick, if I tell you,
I kind of agree with what you're saying.
If I tell you I'm going to shoot you in not the heart, but the head, and then I shoot you in the head, does the outcome change?
Not for me. Maybe for you.
Okay, so you're praising somebody who's shooting you in the head. And telling you
a spade. I mean, at least he's got integrity. Hey, I'm a
do you feel
capitalist.
About dying?
Right. I wouldn't say he's like reasoning.
I mean, we're talking about minor degrees here. We're not talking about giant differences. We're talking about a matter of degree.
There is nothing minor about billions of dollars.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm not.
I do.
Or one way or the other. I'm just. I'm saying I would rather have someone who looked me in the eye and told me who they are than someone who looked me in the eye and told me they were something different than who they are.
So what I'm trying
That's
to get
pretty
to the
much
bottom of
what I'm saying about that.
is you would respect somebody more in the moment
Yes.
that says, hey, I'm going to shoot you right in your prefrontal cortex, which effectively will destroy the biggest parts of your brain.
I'd respect
Rather
you
than
if you
rather
did
than
that
somebody who
anyway.
says, hey, I'm not going to shoot you, and then they shoot you.
But here's the thing: if
Yeah.
other people see that,
Okay.
it won't affect
What-
the outcome
how-
for me, but it will affect how other people deal with them in the future.
perceive that person.
Yes.
Well, the liar is definitely more problematic, right? Because then they're going to convince more people to stand in front of them.
If in front of a crowd, that's how we have to look at this. In front of a
Like,
crowd.
because, well, celebrities
If,
are operating in front of a
if
crowd.
Patrick
Bezos
says
and Oprah
he's
are-
going to shoot me in the head,
Okay.
right? And there's people there as witnesses. He says he's going to shoot me in the head, and then he shoots me in the fucking asshole, right? And say I die either way.
Okay.
People that deal with him in the future, and we're not talking like people are going to be running to him going, shoot me, shoot me. I'm just saying,
Right.
as a example, they're going to go, wait a minute, he shot that one dude in the asshole instead of the head.
Right. Like
Like,
I said,
we've
it doesn't
seen
change
that.
anything for me, but it might change for
Well,
others.
no,
He's like
that-
the Gary,
that's not
or the Billy Mays of homicide.
That's not salient. Like the fact that you would have a very quick.
I don't
death.
know. In other countries, you get put in jail for false advertising.
Oh Jesus!
It's true.
It is. It is. You just completely disarmed me. I can't even continue down this road. God damn.
Hey, man, like it or leave it. You know what I mean?
Love it or leave it.
Wait, what's
You
the
don't love it,
cringeworthy
get
phrase?
out.
Like it or lump it?
Yeah,
I've-
God.
Fucking hate
Oh, dear.
that.
You don't like this country so much. Why don't you leave it?
Patrick,
Yeah.
man, I'm sorry. I got a little too involved in this conversation.
No,
I
you're
feel
good,
like
man.
you have a lot more to say. I
No,
did
you're-
say that I
you're
was going
part
to
of
try
it.
to shut the hell up.
No, you're good, man.
Man, I feel like you've got a couple points that you really need to get off your chest.
Well, gosh, that I was disarmed by Hal too there.
That's me, dude.
No,
Fuck the Second Amendment.
I don't even.
You can't bear arms against me,
I
brother.
kind of lost where we were. I think.
Pedophiles
Yeah.
and liars.
Man, hey,
Everything. It's all-
you had some points back when we were in the realm of identity politics, and it's all loosely kind of
related.
related, but I think you had some really good ideas, at least in what you got to loosely flesh out when we were talking about cancel culture.
Right. No, on cancel culture. I was just going into my own view of it and what I think is permissive and not permissive. Obviously, in a capitalist society like we have, or at least based on capitalist principles, how do I want to say this? Any business owner, right? Sorry, I just get my thoughts straight. Any business owner wants to put their best foot forward to the public. So if you have employees on public forums saying racist, bigoted, homophobic, misogynistic, all of the above statements in a public forum, you have every right not to employ that person, no matter how amazing an employee they are. I think that's perfectly reasonable. However, if someone made a tweet 15 years ago when Twitter first started, or 12, 13 years ago, whatever it is, and they were just bullcrapping around, and that's not what they believe, and you've never seen any additional evidence of that, I don't think it's appropriate to cancel or fire or even, maybe bring them in and ask them a question about it, let them explain themselves. But once they've done that, move along. And the celebrities who are getting canceled, like the James Gunn, who I brought up earlier, the Guardians of the Galaxy director.
Bill Cosby.
An
Bill
unfortunate
Cosby did some
culture.
Well, yeah, but besides, making a few jokes a decade ago. Kevin Hart is another good example. Making a few jokes a decade ago or more shouldn't impact what anybody does today. Now, if you said it last week, different story.
Well, I think it's irrelevant whether it was last week or a decade ago.
You don't think people can learn from and can be educated and...
No. I do believe that. It's just whether or not that person can make a living doing what they love or what is, what they're good at. I don't think it's right to rip that away from them, because it doesn't just affect them. It affects entire production companies. It affects, their families, and the functional affect of that is now in the world of comedy, which for whatever reason, South Park has been completely immune to this plague.
Because they don't care.
They don't give a fuck.
No, they don't care.
And they're able to produce the most poignant comedy coupled with very educated points. And what we're seeing, like with Kevin Hart or even Louis C.K., who whipped out his dick in his own fucking hotel room, and he warned the people who were in his hotel room. He said, "Hey, I'm going to masturbate. If you want to stick around, stick around." He was canceled.
Which is kind of gangster on its own level.
Yeah.
There,
Like he warned the people around him.
You can be
Yeah, like what the fuck, like.
He bought that room, and he had groupies.
Like,
they were,
yeah, dude.
there.
If I'm in my own house and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna fucking jerk off. Like, if you're not cool with it,
go if you want, or
you can leave.
Louis C.K. is one of the most liberal comedians of our generation, and he was canceled because a room he bought that he warned people. Hey, that's like if everybody was in a bathroom with somebody and you're like, hey, I'm going to take a shit. And then nobody leaves and you're like, well, I've got to take a shit.
Well, that's that top left group of people. Yeah. They really, truly want an authoritarian situation where
let me ask,
people not only tell them what to do, they force them.
Well, let me ask
They're
you.
into BDSM, and they should just go to like fucking Denmark or something.
Well, do you think there's a difference? But either one of you guys, do you think there's a difference between someone like Louis C.K., who essentially works for himself? I mean, he contracts himself out to venues and clubs and else.
Those venues stopped bringing him in.
Who represents a larger business that would be susceptible to a boycott or something like that, because if you continue to employ someone who's toxic to the brand, then it does, you're right, Griffith, it does harm that person's family to fire them. But what if the business goes under and hundreds or thousands of people's lives are destroyed because you continue to employ that person?
Well, that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to get out to the public is we've got to stop our reaction.
I've got a really hard point on that one.
Well, Hal,
go ahead.
Give me 1 second, and I'll be done.
All right, yeah, go ahead, dude.
That's where
this one's really close to me, though.
Okay, this cancel culture has to stop for that very reason. Yeah, you have one person sitting on a pedestal to point at and say, he's problematic. He is destroying societal norms and this, that, and the other. But all the while, they're not noticing that on his pedestal that they're elevating to paint this person as an awful person. His family is also elevated and suffers from that. Okay. Now, Louis C.K. could go get a job at McDonald's or wherever. He's not wanting for nothing, not to use a very
Correct.
awful, I hate the grammar in that, but he's not wanting for nothing, but his family dynamic definitely has changed, and his daughters suffer from it. He has 2 daughters, and now all his daughters can see about him in the world is that he is a sexual predator. The father and the mother are the 2 most important things to a child's development.
I agree.
So that's really all I have to say about that. Honestly, I think I'm done at this point. The cancel culture is ruining the family dynamic.
And let me also say quickly before Hal jumps in, I'm not a fan of cancel culture at all. I just think there are circumstances, particular ones, in which it's legitimate. So go ahead, Hal. Or not?
Several areas to cover on that last spiel. I'm going to start, I guess, God damn it. I guess by letting my dog out. Come on, buddy. All right. So, as far as comedy, I have a really fucked up sense of humor. I'll laugh at rape joke, race jokes, death jokes, whatever. But I understand what that is. I get that it's a joke. I understand that. Like, you got this weird cancel culture of people. And, last week's episode of me being called for, virtue signal was just the most hilarious fucking thing imaginable. There's a difference, I think, between when you know someone's being serious about something, you can feel it. Like Early said last week, it's pretty fucking obvious when you're joking. A joke is over the top. It's not tongue in cheek. Very easy. Like saying the N, just being like, yeah, the damn N words. That's not a joke. That's not funny. That's some racist bullshit. But I've also, in my own life, been encountered with people that, why do you, you're so against pedophilia and shit, and you listen to G.G. Allen. You like G.G. Allen. And, I have to say...
What's GDL, by the way?
Do what?
What's GDL?
Yeah, I don't know that one.
G.G. Allen, not G.G.
Oh, okay. What's G.G. Allen?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh my God! Either of you know who G.G. Allen is?
I'm a fucktard.
Me too. Big one.
Damn, I didn't think I'd have to explain this one tonight, but anyway, he's the the punk guy that known for throwing shit, being naked, heroin, yada yada yada.
Kind of sounds like Jim Morrison.
From the Doors.
Yeah, Jim Morrison.
His take on stage, Jim Morrison was a deviant.
The Lizard King.
Jim G.G. Allen makes Jim Morrison look like fucking Mr. Rogers.
Okay, fair enough.
God damn.
Good.
That's
description.
problematic.
Yeah, and guess the names of the two people that are going to G.G. Allen videos in their DMs. Anyway, he was a fucked up dude, man. He quite possibly was a child molester in a sense, I guess. Mostly these were, just random groupies that were runaways and shit. Like, I mean, they were gonna be there regardless.
So is it confirmed that he sexually enacted with underage, and by underage I mean under 18? Did he participate in such actions?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious, but it's not like
There's no hardcore proof. Okay.
But well, I mean, his daughter. I'm friends with his daughter.
Oh,
Nika.
That's interesting.
She never got to meet her dad, really. He died in '94. He's I guess like a really prominent figure when it comes to understanding how society. He's like a societal mouthpiece. He's the underbelly of society.
Okay.
And like I said, man, I don't agree with a lot of what he did, but I can still respect the artistic side of things. And I think that's where it's going too far with this whole like cancel culture thing, where people are like, fuck it, erase it from history. Now
it
doesn't make any sense.
You're not saying that about Confederate monuments, right?
I'm saying that just in general.
Okay.
Erasing things from history doesn't change anything. Do I find it hilarious to see like dicks drawn on fucking Confederate statues? Hell yeah. Because that's something that I've opposed for so long. Do I give a fuck to get torn down and busted up? No.
Listen, it doesn't affect my life. There is no affect.
If you're so goddamn like disconnected from history that a sign or a fucking monument or whatever getting torn down means your children not being able to learn history, that's your fucking fault.
Well, let me jump in on that real quick.
I would say that there is no affect to me in regards to the demolition of these monuments. In regards to identity politics, I really want to bring this home. It doesn't bother me. I don't care if General Lee is demolished. Don't give a fuck. He wasn't about the United States. He was not about the Union. So screw him, dude. I'm an American. I'm a citizen of the United States. Screw him. He rebelled. He can go to hell for all I care.
Well,
I don't know. I think a lot of that.
In the same vein, if his monument stands tall, that does not affect me. But then again,
exactly,
I'm not black. I'm not Native American.
I'm gonna end it on this as far as my comments go. But tearing those fucking monuments down, who gives a I would rather see like rainbow flags and fucking like anarchist rhetoric all over them. Leave them there because they are. Now, if they truly belong to the people, then let them belong to the people.
Put
don't
a
protect
rainbow
them.
flag on a monument for Generally,
slapped fucking dildos all over him and shit. I don't give a fuck.
and the taxpayer does not bear that cost.
Right. Yeah, definitely don't charge working class people for dildo and shock removal.
Well, no, guys, the only thing I want to say about that, and I'll be quick, is I think if monuments need to come down, and there are certain communities that don't want those monuments where they are, I think that a vote is the proper way to go about removing them.
I agree.
God damn, Patrick, why do you bring reason into this
it's terrible
conversation?
I definitely agree with him, man. Like, if I lived in some fucking little ass weird town.
Yeah, to have the city council, the state legislature, or whoever make a motion. The way things are right now, I doubt any of those would fail. Heck, even Tennessee, we removed Nathan Bedford Forrest from the Capitol finally. So,
but Patrick, can we not agree that government has been ineffective in actuating these ideas of dismantling the monuments? Like,
it depends on how you determine how you define ineffective, because there were several votes for the Forrest statue that failed before it finally succeeded.
Well, please link the relevant sources. Hold on.
How? Virtue signaling.
Oh, Jesus. Link the relevant articles that
I can't take you serious, man. You're virtue signaling.
Link me the relevant articles that you're talking about, because I understand what you're talking about, Patrick. It's that government can be very red tape in accomplishing pretty obviously needed goals, if that makes sense.
I'm just saying that the ends can't justify the means, because if it starts going down that road, where does it end? I mean, people were talking about ripping down a statue of Lincoln in which there was a black slave. He was kneeling, but he was kneeling as in he was rising, coming up in front of Lincoln. People were wanting to rip that statue down.
Oh yeah.
I think that stuff is crazy.
It is. It's
who's paying for these statues? That's the real question.
Well, they were paid for a long time ago, during the lost cause phase of American history in the early 20th century.
What I really mean is, who's paying for the upkeep of these statues?
Depends on where they are.
Local municipalities,
usually.
And where does that money come from?
No,
from local sales tax and local income tax for states that are commonwealths.
I fully believe that the taxpayers have an interest in black taxpayers, just like white ones have an interest in how their tax dollars are spent. But again, if we devolve into the mob gets to decide, I mean,
which James
where
Madison
does
very accurately depicted. James Madison kind of foreshadowed everything that is going on today with our mobocracy.
Madison was pretty awesome, by the way.
Well, he was, and he championed every bit of what our democracy represents and what a republic. Goddamn
republic.
What a republic represents. But he also saw a very real threat of what he called mobocracy. And we're experiencing that today.
I agree. 100.
It's weird. Like, if I decided I wanted like a statue of ODB, Old Dirty Bastard, in the middle of downtown, and I got that passed through through like the city, the county, the state, whatever. There's gonna be people that are like, God damn, I hate that guy. But their tax dollars in some small way are gonna go to preserving that old dirty bastard.
Well, I think the solution is simpler than most people think. There are foundations, historical societies, all sorts of privately owned institutions that would probably pay and come get a lot of these statues and just put them in their museum or put them wherever they want, and nobody would have to rip anything down. I
agree 100% with that. I think that
they would come
that museums are there for a reason, and those things that we're right now fighting over are parts of history, and that's where they belong.
Yeah, I agree with Hal. There's a museum for a reason. There's historical societies. There's the Daughters of the Civil Confederate Veterans, and all these different groups. You can debate the veracity or the credibility of any of them, but if they want to pay to remove a statue that people are protesting anyway, I think that solves a bunch of problems right there.
And it also, opens up an avenue for people that actually want to learn about those things.
Absolutely, and you're putting a statue of Robert E. Lee into a society of Civil War reenactors. I mean, that would seem like that would
imagine if I had Robert E. Lee, if I paid for a statue in my own town of Robert E. Lee, not only making out with Jesus Christ, but also they were like Dutch ruddering each other.
Jeff Davis.
It would still be at the same argument point of what. Can we leave this up? Man, they're tearing down statues.
I agree.
Can you bring home the idea of a double Dutch rudder?
Yeah.
I want Hal to explain that. Yes.
Have you not seen Zach and Miri make a porno?
Yeah, man. Basically, you put your hand on my penis, fully erect, and I put mine on yours, but no. Sorry, I'm wrong. I put my own hand on my own penis.
Yes.
And you put yours on your penis, but we reach with the other arm and
to provide the motion.
Yeah, we move it just enough.
Yeah.
That both of us are pleasure.
Yeah. It's where you can come to fruition.
It's explained a lot better in the movie Zach and Miri make a porno.
We can spill our seed.
Watch that.
On the ground. If there's a whore there, like in the Bible,
a concubine.
It's better. It's definitely better to spill our seed in the belly of a whore than to spill it on the ground. But
yeah, Ron Watt has a great joke for that.
You can't expect the belly of a whore to be present in every museum.
No, I think to the effect of Ron Watt's joke, he was caught masturbating in a car in his grandmother's garage. No. He was caught having sex with a third cousin. And
what?
He
Color me surprised.
Hashtag stunned.
He had to confront his grandmother, and she said something along the lines of "What you're doing is wrong," and he said, "At least I'm not spilling my seed on the ground."
Oh dear.
I'm spilling it in my sibling or my
relative.
My relative.
Well, probably sibling at that point. If you're fucking your cousin.
I mean,
Well, I think it was his third cousin or some stupid
right.
shit.
So it
is that
doesn't
where
count.
is that where somebody says, "Hey, it's all relative"?
If you fuck your third
It's all
cousin, is it-
relative.
Oh man,
if they're adopted or
should-
or 3 times removed, it doesn't count.
it probably shouldn't.
No.
According to nothing.
Right.
This is so fucked up. Yeah, you should never fuck your third cousin. Goddamn.
Hey, did you guys know? Fun fact: George W. Bush and Barack Obama are 8th cousins. Did you guys know that?
Oh man.
Oh, here we
that
go into
theory.
conspiracy
Yeah,
theories.
God
It's true. No, it's true. It's 100%.
I don't think we have another 8.5 hours for me to go on this
That's
spiel.
100% factual. You guys
Goddamn, Hal, I'm sure you've got a bunch of it.
I will fucking definitely go on it. All the presidents are related.
No, I would disagree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think there have been a
Fact.
preponderance of
Fact.
Atheist-
Tom Hanks is a child molester, and
Oh, Jesus.
all the presidents are related.
No, I would say there has been a preponderance of atheist, not just presidents, but even congressional officials, that they have not been able to speak to the truth of
Disprove
what they
that
believe.
they're all family.
Ah, Jesus. You got to tie back to that.
I've not seen. I'm just bullshitting at this point.
No, I know.
I guess it's probably a good time to wrap up. Everybody's sick of.
And we're talking about Dutch rudders and.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we've clearly gone past our sell-by date.
Well, hey, listen,
Hey,
we've
can't
had a
sell
very
a-
productive conversation. I think it kind of went off the rails when
You can't
Phillip
sell
left.
what's free.
Probably about an
I
hour
know
ago.
he always. I'm gonna miss him on next week's show.
Yeah, he's going on vacation, right?
No, that's Walker. You gotta figure out who everybody is.
Dude, I'm so bad with names, and that's so weird because I work in sales. But
I'm gonna give you a solid.
related there.
I'm gonna give you a solid. Walker never talks on camera.
okay.
He's shaking his head right now.
So yeah, like he's never on camera, so you never have to say his name, Jason.
You don't.
Well,
Even though
hey,
you both have the same name, and yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know.
no, that actually kind of confuses me in the chat sometimes because I see Jason. I'm like, I
I'm
never
rename
sent
both
that.
of you guys in the group chat.
Hey, next week I would really love to talk about Beirut and nuclear proliferation.
I'm down with that.
So hey,
US
maybe
foreign
that's a
policy
teaser.
toward the Middle East too, as a whole, would be a
Goddamn yes. I hope that's a perfect teaser for the next episode.
Well,
Guys,
we'll
I'm gonna go
leave
ahead
it
and
up
sign
to,
off. I'm gonna drive like an hour home. I'll talk to you guys
well-
next week. Okay.
Well, hold up for just a second.
Oh,
We're
okay.
about done. I guess we'll leave it up. The Beirut issue is definitely a hot topic and definitely something that needs to be talked about. I mean, there's obviously something there. You know, what it is up for debate. But is there anything that either of you want to plug before we sign off?
I've got two things. I would like to give a sort of preamble to who I am on the next episode. I feel
You gotta
like
get there on time.
say again.
You gotta get there on time, dude.
Well, I'll try not to run any appointments next week.
Yeah. Try to quit your
I would like
job.
to give a preamble about who I am and how I feel about certain things, and then also let me put a shameless plug in here. if you're looking for service with AT&T, give me a shout. Message me on Facebook. I can help you out. That's
absolutely.
it. I'm done.
I'll plug my business too. If you need any home repair services or gutters, windows, roofing, siding, I work at Wilkerson Window and Gutters in Knoxville. We do everything. Message me too.
I'm gonna end mine with I don't believe in taxes.
Taxation is theft.
Yeah. If you guys want fresh produce, I have watermelons, cantaloupes, bell peppers, tomatoes, carrots.
Stop virtue signaling. Hal.
Yada yada. Yeah, I'm not meaning to virtue signal, but I'm trying to give you guys a good deal.
You guys heard it here first. Hal has the best tax-free produce attainable through any market. Go get his shit.
Yeah, we call it fuck government intervention. Free and wild produce. Brittany White, who is part of this group and part of our channel, she came, got a lot of beans and all that. And
that's awesome.
Never gave me any feedback on it.
Well, listen, Hal, I didn't know that you were selling.
Skip taxes on shit.
I'm really happy to hear that she came, Hal.
Yeah, no, I want to buy produce from you now.
Well, yeah, hit me up.
Hell, Hal.
I'm not kidding.
No, hell, Hal.
This is not a joke.
I want to give you a call after this and figure out what I got to do to get some beans from you. Okay.
All right, man. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Good night, guys.
Right.
Love y'all.
Good night, Patrick. Yeah. You were awesome. Hal, you were awesome.
Thanks to everyone that tuned in, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully you were at least slightly entertained. Everyone have a good night.
Bye-bye.